this is like up in the clouds. This is not grounded in reality. Like, oh, I paid this amount and then magically these opportunities showed up. Hello, everyone. I am Carolyn Choate, and I'm joined today by Eric, who I was introduced to. He is mainly a sales coach and trainer, but my friend said, you've got to have him on if you want to know why we should care about mindset. So welcome to the show, Eric. So good to have you here.
Thanks, Carolyn. Hey, everybody.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about you and your background and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. Knucklehead kid, graduated high school, didn't want to go to college. Really wasn't an option for me. So I ended up joining the Marine Corps. And I feel like that's where I grew up. For 8 years, I was privileged enough to travel around the whole world, ended up in Afghanistan and Iraq, all over Europe, Guantanamo Bay. So there was all these life experiences. And when I was getting out, I really didn't know how to translate that into the real world. So I went to my commanding officer. I'm like, sir, what am I supposed to do? I've been here since high school. He's like, they called me K because I have a long last name that starts with K. He said, K, with all the BS you've sold me through the years, you got to get into sales. I said, okay, I don't know what sales is, but I'm going to go for it. And I got out, started selling copiers in Baltimore. That's where I learned that there's actually a saying. They said, if you can sell copiers, you can sell anything. And yeah, I grew through the ranks, ended up leading a sales team for Xerox, went on to be a director of sales for another tech company, and grew these companies. So I thought, why not go out on my own? So in 2015, I started my own company called The Goal Guide, and initially it was focused on leadership development. But then quickly, solopreneurs, we start out, we're doing a million things. We don't know exactly what to do. We don't know how to sell ourselves. Like, I could sell somebody else like crazy, but when it came time to sell myself, it was like the hardest thing ever. It's been over 10 years now with this journey as an entrepreneur, and I've evolved to like just hone in on, sales coaching, sales training. And with that comes this piece of mindset. So anybody that comes to me to train them on sales, we really end up working on themselves as a whole person, because once you get that right, you can go sell anything you want.
I have heard it said that being an entrepreneur is like a personal development course, and it really is.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So you told me before we started recording that mindset changed your life, and I am raising a skeptical eyebrow because I have to admit that every time I hear the word mindset, I kind of groan and go, is that really important? So please tell me, how is mindset important?
That's such a broad question. How is mindset important? Like, when are you skeptical about mindset?
I understand sort of in general, like, yes, you have to believe that you're capable of doing it. You have to know that you can achieve what you're setting out to do. But it feels like in this entrepreneurial world that we end up doing a lot of training on mindset, and it's like, where's the practical side? Are we going to spend our whole lives just like, okay, I have to have the right money attitude, but I've taken like 6 mindset workshops on it and I still don't really have the right mindset. So do I keep doing that? Do I actually try to sell things? Like, what is the balance and the place of mindset?
What was the money belief in your house when you were growing up?
My father, look at this, I'm about to get like shrinked. My father grew up pretty upper middle class, well-to-do. My mom grew up dirt poor. So I had a complicated relationship with money. My father makes good money, but I feel a lot of stress around it, a lot of worry about running out, a lot of just like, money is evil, that whole thing. Like, how can we be good people and also be well off? I ended up quite broke because I went to school for creative writing, which in retrospect, like, you can't tell an 18-year-old what to do. That's the crux of it. So yeah, a lot of difficult money stuff, which is still clearly not resolved, though I keep on working on it.
What you mean is I go to courses and I learn about it, right? And so you're getting all this new knowledge about how to handle money. I like to compare people to like a computer. Your conscious mind, right? That's kind of what you know you're doing. Then there's this concept of the subconscious mind. Do you believe that there's a subconscious mind?
I do.
If you've ever driven home from work and you kind of don't remember the drive, you just, you drove home, but you don't recall driving home, the subconscious picks up and just kind of drives you home. If we're comparing to a computer, that's the programming that's operating at the core level. So like if my computer does not have Microsoft Excel downloaded on it, you can send me as many Excel documents as you want. I still will not be able to open them until I install the proper operating system. When we're born with 3 fears, right? That's it. And there's absolutely no belief system. There's no conscious mind.
What fear?
3 fears that we're born with are fear of loud noises, or maybe it's 2, fear of loud noises and fear of falling down. So if you take a baby and you just even jerk a little bit, you'll see like this. Those are the only 2 fears people are born with. Everything else we get programmed by our environment, by our parents, by whatever we see on TV, what we read. Up until some people say it's at 7, some people say it's 12, but whatever. When you're first born, you don't have the ability to reason, so you just accept. That's why kids believe that there's a jolly old man living on the North Pole, and one night a year, he visits every boys and girls house, and he comes down your chimney, even if you don't have a chimney. We believe that.
Sounds logical, yeah.
Sounds logical. Like we, at some point, believe that, and we get so excited we leave cookies and milk out for him. And if we believe that, imagine what else we believe. And so you're programmed with your mom's beliefs of money. And there's that fear of, oh my God, it's going to run out, it's going to run out. So no matter how many files I send to you, until we reprogram that belief system, you can learn all you want about money, but it's not going to change. It happens the same with weight. Like people who try to lose weight and they go work hard at it. Consciously, they do what they need to do, but they never reprogram that belief about themselves. Maybe they believe themselves. Maybe their dad called them something mean when they were young, right? And now they're trying to fight that, but it always goes back to that because in their mind, they're programmed to be less than or overweight or not someone who's not able to achieve goals, whatever it is.
Okay, I have the product. I tell people why they should want it, and they buy it. How could what I'm thinking impact that? Where does what I believe about money come into that process?
You might be able to make money, you lose money. But like for me, it was similar. I was born in the former USSR. My parents came here and when I was 10 years old. So my mom was working at a gas station. Stepfather was a cab driver. Like we didn't have any money. 6 of us lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. But the belief system from old communism was anybody who's rich is because they're corrupt and they're a-holes. So what I noticed is as soon as I started making money, it was gone. Like didn't matter how much money I made, the way I sabotaged myself, because look, your belief system is the belief system, right? So for me, it was people who are wealthy are bad and they're corrupt. Well, deep down inside, I want to be a good guy. I'm not corrupt. I want to, that's not who I want to be. So I started making more money, and I would just buy bigger stuff. I would just donate more. I would lose money. I would sabotage myself. Like,
okay.
And you don't know, like, if you're not aware that that's happening because of your programming, like I wasn't programmed for money. So if you're not programmed for money, you're never going to get money. So I'm not saying you can't make money. You can make money.
Okay.
But
hold on to it.
Yeah, you could just be a really good salesperson, a really good marketer, and you'll make money. But then what happens once you have the money is if, in your case, if your programming is such that money is the root of all evil, well, you'd never want to keep that. Why would you ever want to have something that's the root of all evil?
So let me go back a step here and find out from you, how did you discover mindset, and how did you realize that it was something that was important for you to actually dig into?
It didn't make sense to me. There were people who weren't working as hard. There were people who weren't as skilled as I was, doing better than I was. And I knew when I surrounded myself with these people, I realized that there was more of a potential and more possibility for me than I was currently achieving. So I hired coaches, I worked with coaches, and they pointed things out to me. So one of the things that I learned is that who you're being is way more important than what you're doing. So I'll give you an example. I wanted to run a marathon, right? Like a couple years back, I thought, okay, what's the 2.0 version of Eric? And I'm like, I hate running, so I'm just going to sign up for a marathon. Literally, that's how fast I made the decision. It was like beginning January, what's going to take me to the next level? Marathon. All right. So I sign up for the marathon, hire a coach specifically for the marathon. And at that time, I was working with a life coach as well. So the marathon coach tells me, sets up a whole plan for me and things like that. And by this time, I had to run 20 miles that weekend. All right. So we're a few months into the training. I'm running 20 miles this weekend. Working with my life coach, he's like, what do you have going on this weekend? I'm like, gotta run 20 miles. It's gonna suck. He's like, whoa, time out. What do you mean? Why would it suck? I'm like, I hate running. He's like, Eric, you're a marathon runner. How do you hate running? And I said, I'm not a marathon runner. I've never ran a marathon. I'm training for a marathon. And he said, well, who trains for marathons? I was like, marathon runners do. He's like, so do you become a marathon runner after you run the marathon? Or do you become a marathon runner before while you're training? I'm like, okay. I'm not being a marathon runner. I need to I just got to change my view of it. Okay. I said, okay, no, I see what your point is. He's like, Eric, you wrote a book. I did. He said, did you become an author after you published the book or while you were writing the book? I'm like, after I published the book. He's like, who writes books? Like, wait, authors do. And in both of these cases, I didn't look at myself as an author. So it took me like 3 years to write a book. I didn't look at myself as a marathon runner. I hated every single training run. The second I changed the way I viewed it. So the second I said, hold on, I'm a marathon runner, so I'm training for a marathon. This is super exciting. What do I love about this? What's good about it? Oh, I'm getting in shape. I'm getting better. It's measurable. This is amazing. And as soon as I came to the runs that way, the runs were awesome. What changed? It was the same run. What changed is how I look at it. Carolyn, here's how I do this now every single day. Like, if I meet with a coaching client, some of my coaching clients are watching this. I'm really sorry. I'm not talking about you. Or if I had a lot going on and this is somebody who like tends to be on the negative side or something, I would show up to the call, but before the call, I'm like dreading it. Like, oh, this is going to be a drain. This is going to suck. And I would show up and I didn't come fully the way I needed to. After that conversation with my coach, I saw that little door open. Like, where else am I not being who I need to be being? And that was on sales calls. That was in client interactions. That was with my wife, with my kids. So now when I show up to the call, before the call, I just pause and I say, this is going to be the best effing coaching session I've ever had. This is going to be the best coaching session they've ever experienced. This is the most important person in my life that I've ever met. And that's exactly how I'm going to treat them. And I show up to the call with that energy. Same person, same call, same time, same BS that I deal with outside of this call. What changed is how I decided to view the person. I show up differently.
So you feel like just saying that, just telling yourself that this is like, that's enough to shift the mindset?
It's more than just saying it, it's deciding to be that. Like, for me, it's enough to shift the way that call is. But it's interesting, you said, is that enough to set the mindset? My mind is already set. Like, my mind is set that I'm going to be looking at positive things in life. My mind is set that I don't let the uncontrollables control my emotions. My mind is set that I always look for solutions. My mind is set that I'm a badass mofo and I believe that I can accomplish anything I put my mind to. Like, that's the mindset that I have. What it takes to set that mindset are a few things. One is our imagination. So most people don't know what they want to be. They don't know like when we talk about goal setting, we have a departure point, we have an arrival point. I set a goal in January that in 90 days I'm going to weigh 190 pounds. So by the end of March, I was going to be 190 pounds. So that was from 212 to 190, I don't know, 22 pounds down, right? March 31st, I weighed 189 pounds. What changed was I had to set the goal that like, okay, I'm going to be 190 and my cholesterol is going to be down by March 31st. Now, what does that Eric do? How does that Eric show up? What is his day like? What is he thinking? How is he feeling about himself? And I start acting that way on January 1st. I don't wait to get to that point. I can start being that 190-pound version of myself. I went and bought smaller clothes, and now they all fit. Mindset drives everything. Think about when you feel like you're tired, when you feel like you just don't feel like doing something. What happens?
I take a nap.
Yeah, you go take a nap. What's the alternative there?
Caffeine?
Maybe it's caffeine, and sometimes that's the right thing, right? Or maybe it's just a vision that pulls you. Maybe it's just remembering why you're doing it. What is the result that you're going after that's so grand that it like just pulls you? Do you have any projects you're working on? Have you worked on a project that you're just excited to get up in the morning and go after it?
I will admit that I launched a book yesterday and I didn't have all of my promotional stuff finished. So on Wednesday, I stayed up until 1 a.m. and then I got up as usual at 5:30 and I didn't nap all that day. I was fully energized with my excitement for the book launch.
First of all, congratulations on the book launch. That's huge. But you were so freaking excited. You had something that pulled you. And when we have something that's pulling us, what state of mind were you in?
Euphoric, energetic.
Euphoric, energetic. And you know what? Now the book is done. What's next that's pulling you? Right? So it's important to set that next goal to stay in that euphoric, energetic state. I learned that most astronauts, when they come back from their space mission, they fall into depression. Once you've been to space, what else? What's next? As humans, we gotta have that next thing that's pulling us. So what's the 2.0 version of yourself? You have to have the right mindset and a belief system built in that you can accomplish that to even set those goals. If you don't believe that you're an entrepreneur, which a lot of entrepreneurs have imposter syndrome.
Similar to the author thing. I'm not a real author until a traditional publisher puts the stamp of approval. Yeah.
So we minimize ourselves. Oh, I have this small company. Oh, I'm trying to grow it. I hear people talking, I already know where their mindset is set. And then I listen to Donald Trump. Like him, don't like him, I don't really care. Just listen to how he talks. It's the best. It's the biggest. No one's ever done anything like this. They haven't experienced ever. I'm listening to Art of the Deal on audio, and he recorded that in 1987. He's been talking that way back then. He's just programmed to see things bigger.
So how do you get yourself to be programmed differently? Because I'll tell you, you mentioned earlier that I go to trainings, but it's really not just like education. Like mindset is important. Do your mindset. You know, I've done like visualization exercises. I've done hypnotherapy type stuff. Like, is there a particular process that you think works too? Yeah. Okay. Tell me.
Well, this is what people hire me and pay me big bucks to do and work with them on.
The best part about having a podcast.
Yeah. So what I'm going to tell you, I mean, this is like, it's an ongoing deep work. Highly recommend for listeners, if you're dealing with anything we're talking about, get a coach. Don't do this on your own. But it starts off with really understanding who it is that you want to be. Like, that's number one. We got to figure out, well, what are you working towards? What does your arrival point look like? And that is deep work in itself. So there's an exercise that's called Any Given Tuesday. So it's a Tuesday. It's not a holiday. You're not on vacation, but you're living your dream life. You spend time with yourself and you write out, what does your ideal Tuesday in your dream life look like? But you do it in present tense. You would start off saying something like, as I wake up this morning, I open my eyes and the love of my life is laying next to me. I feel so blessed and so grateful for the life that we've created. As I look over, the sun is just coming up over the ocean, and I'm writing this out. It will take you 4 days to write out your morning if you do it correctly before you get down to lunch. Just like when I talked about you're driving home from work and you don't remember how you got there. Well, it's because you set the destination, I'm going to go home, and the subconscious takes over. You write this out and you get this vision clear enough, similarly to I'm going home, and what's going to happen is your subconscious now starts going that way. Things that take you away from that day, away from that vision, start feeling uncomfortable for you. That's step number 1. Step 2 is really discovering, well, what do you currently believe? Because it's possible to believe a lie. Like money is the root of all evil. Is that true?
No.
No. So for like a week or two, you carry a notepad with you, and anytime you hear a thought that takes you away from your goal, speaks negatively about you, or isn't aligned with what it is that you want for your life, you jot it down. And then you go through that and you forgive yourself for believing that about yourself. Because if you start paying attention to this, you call yourself things that you'll never call your worst enemy.
Very true.
You would never say this to anybody else. We beat ourselves up. Step 2 is you figure out, you make the unconscious conscious. What is it that I believe about myself? That quick, oh, you're so stupid. How could you have done that? Ooh, I called myself stupid. Let me write that. Then you take yourself to court. You literally put it on trial. Like, this takes deep work that people don't want to do. But this is what it's going to take. And you literally take these things that you've said about yourself, you put it on a stand, and you cross-examine it. Is this true? Why do I believe that? Is it serving me? Where did this belief even come from? What if I didn't believe that? Who would I be? What's a better belief? Can I forgive myself for believing that about myself? And so you do this work, and now you start creating new beliefs. Now, it's not going to change overnight, but you have to have something to replace it with. So one of my beliefs is I always take immediate action on all aligned thoughts. That came from you're a procrastinator, right? You never freaking take action. You just talk shit and then you don't do it. So me doing this inner work made me realize I created myself to be a procrastinator. There's this programming in there. It's not serving me. I always wait till the last minute, and then I'm scrambling, getting it done. It's half-assed. I get it out. It's good enough, but it's not as good as it could have been. I don't like it. I made this belief I've reprogrammed myself with, I always take action on all aligned thoughts. Now, this is something you would, as you're creating, you're writing it down, and you read that every morning. This is yours. This isn't somebody else telling you. The difference is that you've made your unconscious beliefs conscious. You forgave yourself for believing that. You've now created a new belief, or just wrote it down. It's not really created. You don't truly believe it yet. But every morning you read it. Let me see if it's appropriate to read some of mine. I do everything to the best of my ability. I have a high give a shit factor, and I'm always taking action towards my goals. So this one came into effect a couple of weeks ago, where I was sitting on a couch. It was like 7:30 p.m. I'm tired. I had a long day, and an idea came in like, dude, you didn't work out today. Go to the gym. And right there, I'm like, I gotta go do it. Is that go to the gym? Is that aligned with who I want to be? Yes, go, take action.
It sounds a lot like actually the cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Have you ever heard about that? Very similar, reprogramming mind work.
You have to reprogram it. It's there. What most people do is they're trying to learn new things, and they're putting it on this foundation that's not serving them. So we gotta change the foundation.
And you said earlier about weight loss, and it made me think that you often hear stories of people who have been overweight their whole life. They get the weight loss surgery, they lose the weight, but they haven't changed their inner vision of themselves, and that it's very difficult, that they feel not like themselves, out of alignment. So I can see where there you would want to do that kind of work, to envision yourself as a thinner person, maybe even before getting the surgery. So if you would apply that to business as well, that makes sense. And that leads me to wonder, when are you ready to go to the next step? How much mindset work should you be doing before you go and try to become, or is that just a part of the process that you are becoming?
Yeah, you jump and you build your wings. The mindset definitely has to come first, because how else will you take the necessary step? Even if that mindset is, you know what, let me be okay with failing.
Mm.
How long did it take you to start writing your book?
Well, I've written a lot of books, so this one started and finished pretty quickly. But my first book took 10 years.
From idea to publishing?
Yes.
Why did it take that long?
I didn't believe in my own skills. I kept rewriting it and changing, moving things around. And I felt like maybe I did need to do that since I was a beginner writer at that point. But, I wanted it to be the best it could be. And it took a long time to get there. But after that first book, I wrote not as fast as some people, but a lot faster.
Yeah, you just did it, right? There were still belief issues. You probably didn't have the right mindset. There's probably something in your subconscious holding you back, like who's going to buy my book, who's going to read my book. And so you tended to procrastinate. But you did it anyway. You did it with fear. You did it with... So there's something in your mindset that didn't just stop you. Where a lot of people, they would never even start writing a book. Do the thing to get the energy to do the thing.
Okay.
Take a step, and then you'll realize, oh, that wasn't that bad. Okay, well, if I could do this, all right, and then you'll see the next step and the next step.
Okay, so it all kind of works in tandem, that you are changing your mindset as you're taking action.
And you don't start out with all negative beliefs. There's a few that can help you take action to scaffold to better belief.
It's all fitting together.
Yeah, and if you don't believe in yourself, surround yourself with people who believe in you. Like, if I think back on why I wrote a book, I had the idea to write a book for a long time. Then I got certified through the John Maxwell team on like leadership development training and things like that. As I began to hang out in that circle, most of those people were published authors. So now 10 people every single day that I talk to are published authors who I thought is like this unicorn, right? I've never spoken to a published author before. And they're coming to me for sales advice. And through these conversations, I'm seeing like they're just a regular person. They just put their ideas in a book. And I'm like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And it like made it easier for me. Like seeing others being in that circle elevated my belief that this is a lot easier than I'm making it out to be. We tend to take an anthill and make a mountain out of it, right? Yeah, surround yourself in the right environment to grow, right? If you take a seed and you put it on concrete, it's not going to grow. Take that same seed, put it into soil and nurture it, the seed's going to grow. It's not the seed, it's not you. It could be your environment, it could be what you're consuming, and it's definitely your belief system.
Okay. So I should keep going to all these mindset workshop things?
Well, why do you go to the mindset workshop things? What's missing for you? What are you hoping to get out of them?
That's a fair question. I think a lot of the time I go because of like peer pressure. Like, everybody else is going and saying that it's amazing and I need to do it. Everybody else is going and I must be missing something.
Do you ever ask them why they think you should go?
They always say, like, oh, mindset's important. Mindset is everything. I feel like there's these platitudes that I keep hearing. And that was why I wanted to talk to you, because I wanted to say, like, what is at the bottom of that platitude? What is the root and the core of it?
What did you take away from the last one you went to?
I felt like there were some good nuggets. There was some like, oh, that's interesting. But how does it really impact how I'm living my life and how I'm running my business? And also, like, so many of these are woo-woo. So I guess some of the question is also like, how do you evaluate which ones?
Well, hold on. But you see, you're like, some of these are woo-woo. You, Carolyn, and me, we're meaning-making machines. So something is, and then we assign a meaning to it. Like, oh, that's woo-woo. Well, what's your belief around something being woo-woo?
Well, you saw the face that I made, so you already know. But it's something that I want to believe in. A lot of the people in my circle are very into these kind of things, and to me, I'm like, I'm struggling to believe in it because I just have a super practical kind of mindset. I want the like, do this kind of step-by-step thing. And the mind work just feels so nebulous and cloudy and like, really?
So let me ask you, so are you okay if I coach you?
Of course.
Yeah? Okay. Let's see if what we can do. So when you say I want to do this, what does that mean?
I guess grow a successful career.
What does that look like?
It looks like doing a lot of different things and changing it up every day and just following what my brain wants to do that day. But
if today you were living that, what would you do today? You said I would do a lot of different things. What would today look like?
I am mostly living that life now. I've been working towards it, and I now have the resources and ability to more or less just wake up and say, okay, today I feel like I'm passionate about this thing. So I'm working on growing my YouTube channel. I published the book and I launched it yesterday, and all of these pieces of kind of the web of my career life. But it always feels like I'm building towards something, but not arriving. So I'm not making enough money. I'm just not. And I know all the things to do, I think. So I just told on myself because I know the practical steps, and yet it's still not getting there.
How much money do you want to make?
$10,000 a month.
What do you think is stopping you from doing that?
It doesn't seem possible for someone like me.
It doesn't seem possible for someone like me. Tell me about who are you?
I am a creative writing major who has never held down a job successfully. I have felt like a failure in almost everything that I've done. And I don't believe the people that I see around me that say that they are achieving what I want to achieve. Because I see a ton of online entrepreneurs making huge claims, saying that they're making that kind of money. And then a lot of times you find out that they're fudging numbers, they're misleading, they're not really making that. And it leads you to think nobody is and that it's not possible. So I'm kind of stuck there, I think.
I want to commend you for being this brave and even talking about that, because it takes courage to go deep inside and say what you just said. But what I noticed, Carolyn, is that as soon as you started going deep, you redirected from you to others on social. What do you think that's about?
Maybe I need to see somebody else do it and know that they've done it to believe that I can too.
But why did you stop talking about yourself? As we were asking, we were talking about you, and then you shifted over to someone on, comparing, not believing what people are saying on social.
There are places where I have changed my mindset and been able to do what I didn't think that I could, and yet not with money. And I feel like I've worked so hard at the money side of it, and it's not getting anywhere. And maybe like it's chasing the, trying this thing and that thing and not going deep enough with each thing. But what's coming to mind is, for many years, I believed that I couldn't sew clothes, that following patterns is too complicated, that I don't have attention to detail. My mom and I tried to sew some doll clothes when I was a kid, and she doesn't know how to sew either. So she immediately got intimidated, didn't do it. My son wanted me to sew him something. I had been making doll clothes, and he wanted something for himself. And I said, well, I've never made human clothes before, but okay, I'll try. And I did feel that kind of shift in my brain of going, like, I did it, and I looked at it, and I went, I am now unstoppable. There is nothing I can't do. And I have now made clothes for myself, my children, my husband. I made him a button-up work shirt. I've actually made like 6 of them. I made myself a sheath dress. Like, nothing is too ambitious for me. So if I could do it in that realm, why am I not able to do it when it comes to the making money realm?
What do you think?
Because there's still something buried deep down about money that I can't pull out.
Why not?
Because I keep trying and it's not helping.
Well, what do you think it is? Don't pull it out. Let it stay there. But what do you think it is? If you just had to point at it.
I very much don't want to have to think about money. I just want it. Every time I try to sort of turn my inner attention towards it, it just goes, nope. I want the Star Trek future where you just, wake up and do what you love and are passionate about and help people and nobody has currency at all.
So you don't want people to have currency?
I don't know. In Star Trek it works. In real life it would not work. So I don't know what I would envision or want.
Yeah. Do you see all these competing commitments you have? Like competing things that like, I don't want to think about money. I want to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anything, like if you look around your world, the glasses you have on your head, the Zoom, mic, computer, everything first started where? Started in somebody's thought.
With somebody's thought. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Everything. Nothing exists that didn't first exist as an idea or a thought. And so you want to create money, 10K a month, but then within a minute you say, I don't want to think about money. Every time I think about money, whoop, I go over here. But what you actually do think about is not having enough money, not making enough money. That's all you're thinking about. Well, isn't that what you've been creating? This could be very big, like if you get this.
It makes a lot of sense what you said about envisioning the person that you want to be and looking at how can I behave like that person now? Like that seems like a practical exercise. I tried to do that affirmation, like, this is what a millionaire looks like stop resisting it, feel it. But
you can't feel it when your belief is, I don't want to think about money. Like on one hand, you're like, I don't want to think about money. I think about money and right away my mind goes somewhere else. And you're doing affirmations to feel like a millionaire. Well, that kind of seems pointless.
It does. It does indeed.
Yeah. So why do you do that?
Because it's supposed to make it happen.
Yeah. If you describe to me how you wrote the book, like every single phase that happened for you to get the book out.
I noticed that all of the people that I worked with and talked to had this problem and question of they've built this website. They don't know how to get people to it. They want more visibility. And it just felt like everywhere I go, everybody is asking that same question, whether it's the online networking groups, whether it's, a nurse at the hospital who said she's trying to start her own home care health business. And I love website traffic. I find it really fascinating. I like to test it. I like to learn about it. So I took my observations about it. I did more research. I pretty quickly was able to see how I wanted to structure it based on different categories of website traffic. And then I just filled in the chapters. I wrote everything that I knew.
No. See, when we say words like just, sorry, then I just.
Mm-hmm.
What? No. You didn't just. What did you do?
Well, it felt very simple and easy and natural. It was the obvious next step of writing out everything that I knew about each topic and then looking for what else is there out there to know about it so that I can make the most complete book for other people. I'm always thinking about the reader, and I have such a huge drive to help people and clarify things and educate, which is what I do on my YouTube channel as well. So it felt like it came together pretty easily.
But did you have an idea what you're going to write about first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It started with an idea.
Yeah, definitely did.
With a thought. And Was there any doubt that you were going to write that book?
Nope.
No. So right now, your thoughts and ideas around money is that you're not capable. You're not the person that can do it. For some reason, you think $10,000 a month is some huge, huge lump sum. And so therefore, you just, that's crazy. And that's just your belief. But is that true, though? Like $10,000, that's a lot of money. I'm assuming it's a lot of money to you because you're saying that's like the goal for you, right? And I don't want to downplay it, but you got to ask compared to what?
Compared to what I've always made in my life. I've never had a job that paid more than $45,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to doing entry-level jobs, secretary kind of jobs.
Yeah. So why don't you just do that? Why are you even thinking about $10,000 a month?
Because when I do those jobs, I really like them at first, and I get really excited because I get to learn new things, and then I learn everything, and I get so bored that I feel like I'm going to kill myself.
When do you not feel like you're going to kill yourself?
When I'm just following the rabbit holes around on the internet and building sales funnels and making videos and writing books, creativity, sewing.
Is that what you do? You build sales funnels?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most successful sales funnel you've built?
My romance novels that I wrote when I was younger, they sell passively at this point. I no longer put promotion into them at all. And I've been happy with the results. But I mean, it's not that astronomical number of $10,000 though, except over time.
Over time.
Yeah.
That's huge. Like you've made $10,000 from your book?
I've made $49,000 from my books over 15 years.
Holy shit. Do you know what percentage of authors make $49,000 from their books?
I'm told it's not many, but I don't know where these numbers are actually coming from and what studies they are,
I don't know, but I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
Okay.
Hey, what percent of authors actually earn over $49,000 from the lifespan of their books?
And from book sales is pretty rare. Most authors earn significantly less.
Did you hear that?
Significantly less.
No. She said earning $49,000 is pretty rare. Most authors earn significantly less.
Exactly. The vast majority of authors don't hit that number. It's tough out there in the publishing world.
Especially focused on the self-publishing world. Like, what do you think is a percent of authors who sell over $49,000 in the lifespan of their book sales?
In the self-publishing world, the percentage of authors earning over $49,000 is quite small. Some estimates suggest it's well under 10%, possibly even closer to 1 or 2%.
How many self-publishing authors are there per year?
There are over 2 million self-published books per year in the US, so there are a lot of self-publishing authors out there.
Wow, that's a lot.
Out of 2 million, you're in the top 1%. And you don't see, when we talk about mindset, your mindset won't allow you to celebrate that. It won't allow you to promote it because you feel like you're less than, well, I'm just, who am I? I've been a, support person and I've never earned more than $45,000 a year, so I'm not worthy of this. So, and you become the world's greatest hidden secret.
It feels wrong to brag about it. It feels like
okay, but that's one of those things that like I would put on that sheet. It feels wrong to brag about it. Dive deep into that. Don't just buy into it. Why does it feel wrong to brag? Where does that come from? Why does it feel wrong to boast about your accomplishments? Did you have siblings?
I have a younger brother.
You have a younger brother. Did you ever hear growing up from your parents saying, "Don't show off, don't boast"?
Yes.
Okay, that may have served you when you were a kid. Probably a good lesson. Don't boast, don't show off, be humble.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta evolve because it's no longer you. Now it's about your business. See, here's what mindset is. I'm gonna stick to what I learned when I was 5 years old and carry that through the rest of my life. The other way to look at it is I have this unique skill where I've done something that less than 2% of people out of 2 million people are able to do. This ability is a gift, and because I have it, it is my duty to bring it out to the world. It's like if you got the cure for cancer, would you keep it to yourself?
I hope not.
because you're too shy to talk about it. That would be a disservice to humanity, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No, you wouldn't. You would freaking shout it from every rooftop. Guys, we found a cure from cancer. If you know anybody who's suffering, if you know the doctors, have them come here. You'd go knocking on doors. Do you know anybody suffering from cancer? You'd probably build the world's greatest funnel to get people to log in and sign up and learn about this cure. Like, that would be your duty. Imagine that mission, curing cancer. Do you understand how many entrepreneurs suffer because they don't have the right funnel? Their business is dying and you have the cure, and you're too shy, Carolyn, to go let them know because your dad told you not to boast when you were 5. Do you see where your programming is running what you're doing?
Yeah.
That's mindset. So like when I work with sales teams, for example, I bring up this point that like, look, sales is the most counterintuitive thing and goes against everything you believe in. Think about it. You grow up, people tell you don't talk to strangers. Stranger danger. That's in your mind. That's your programming. People come up to you at the mall. You walk into a store, somebody walks up, you're there to buy something. They come up and they say, hey, how can I help you? Just looking. You're not just looking, you're there to buy. But what do we? Nope, stranger danger, get away from me. And as soon as you get into sales, the first thing they tell you to do is go talk to as many people as you possibly can and find your ideal clients. Well, you can't do that if you believe strangers are bad. You can't do that if you believe salespeople are bad. We're just not going to act that way. And you sure as hell cannot make $10,000 if you believe money is the root of all evil. If you believe that you're worth $45,000 a year and $10,000 a month seems like this huge number. So let me ask you something. What are all the services that you sell?
It's pretty streamlined. I do a sales funnel in a day build that starts with the funnel mapping strategy session, which can be standalone. And that is it for services. I much prefer to be creating products where I don't have to be like actively in front of people selling it. So hence passive income sales funnels are my favorite thing ever.
How much do you charge for that?
The strategy session is $150, and then the funnel in a day is $2,500.
So you really just need to sell 4 of those a month. What's stopping you?
What if they don't like the funnel that I build for them? What if they don't think that it's working?
Yeah, what if?
Then
Let's say you build a funnel, they hate it. What happens?
I took their money, so I feel really bad, and I don't want to feel bad.
And then what?
And then they tell everyone on the internet that I am terrible and nobody should work with me.
Did you hear that? They're going to tell everyone on the internet? Like, so worst case scenario, the woman who's in the top 1% for book sales through an automated funnel is going to build a crappy funnel to a person that probably has no audience whatsoever, and they're going to tell everyone on the internet how crappy your funnel was. And this is what's stopping you from making $10K a month.
That does sound pretty ridiculous. Especially if they already don't have an audience thing. That was quite true.
So what you're believing here is really stopping you from going all in. And this belief system, Carolyn, you can change it, right? Because it's not true. Couldn't you just redo it? Like you build the funnel, when you say they hate it, what is it about it that they hate? They might hate the font, they might hate a color, they might hate a picture, a video, right? Like,
so I've made about, I'd have to go back and look, but I'd say I've made about 10 of them. And one person said that I did not capture their vibe, and their like they weren't satisfied with the messaging, which, to be honest, I think that they are wrong, and that what they wanted to have more control over the process, but I'm the expert, and I think what I gave them is going to work better than what they put together themselves.
So what do you do in that case?
I completely stopped selling my services, right?
Did they tell everyone on the internet how bad you are?
No.
What did they do? Did they leave you a bad Google review?
They didn't. They didn't even ask for a refund. They just said, this wasn't really what I wanted.
Okay, and what did you do in that case?
I couldn't fix it because I had already done the best that I could to capture her vibe or whatever it was. So at that point, I just had to let it go, which I did not. I just obsessed over it and stopped trying to sell my services.
If you could redo that, what would you do differently?
If I could redo that particular funnel or that whole experience?
That situation.
The first thing that I thought of was to put in more, like at that time, I wasn't doing the strategy session first. So to do that and to have like an intake form where they put in something about the styles that they like and maybe like a contract or something that sets expectations to say like, there is real strategy that goes into this. It is not just I am putting a website up to your specifications. I'm not a virtual assistant. I'm not, just following what you're envisioning. I am creating something that I think is going to work for you.
So being more setting the intention properly on the front end, setting the expectations.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So that's all we got to do is just reflect on it. Listen, in business, you got to give you room to fail. Are you a perfectionist by nature?
Kind of a little bit. I'm pretty good at it's better than perfect, but when it comes to I've taken someone else's money, then I need to deliver something that is absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Do you make decisions quickly, or do you need to analyze and think through them?
Very quickly.
Very quickly. Okay. Got it. So being liked is very important to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So because being liked is important to you, one person doesn't like the funnel you created, naturally that meant to you that they don't like you.
Yep.
And what happens is you want to avoid that feeling.
Definitely.
And so you're avoiding that feeling.
Very successfully, yeah.
Yeah. And so you're just saying that that's more valuable to you than earning 10 grand a month.
Mm.
That's all that is. It's like, to me, it's better off that people like me and not having to even have the opportunity to fail so that they don't like me than, God forbid, I put myself out there and make the money and run the risk that somebody not like me. Because this way, people just think I'm successful and I can do this well, and that's more important than making the 10K. You're believing a lie once again. Not only are you not going after your dream, but now you're holding yourself back from everything else. And what's interesting here is that you said out of the 10 funnels, one didn't like it. Yet you are zeroing in on that one versus focusing or even reflecting on the other 9.
Yeah.
Have you asked them for reviews? Have you seen what their funnels have gone on to do?
That has been a weakness that I have not really followed through later to see what the results have been.
It's the same thing, Carolyn. It's not a weakness. It's fear of them saying we don't like it.
Yeah.
It's you hiding. You don't want to hear the bad news. You don't want them to say, well, it didn't work out. Because then to you, that means I effed up. But it doesn't mean that. It just means the funnel didn't work out. You got to separate yourself from the funnel. It's easy for me to say this. I've worked with people enough to kind of just hear you answer one question. I make decisions quickly and know right away that your behavioral style is that you like to be liked. You need to be liked. And somebody doesn't like your product, to you in your mind, translates to they don't like me. And it's not true.
This is a very, very powerful experience. I can see why people hire you to do this.
Thank you. I'm really good at what I do.
I can see that.
And I don't hide it. But I also like being liked. And I also used to worry the way you worry. And at some point, I just separated it. And you know what helped me? I think I was listening to a Les Brown speech. And I may have heard this speech like 10,000 times. But on this particular day, I heard this particular thing. And it just resonated. And he said, what other people think of you is none of your business.
I have heard that before.
Yeah. Well, to me, I heard it millions, I heard it over 1,000 times and it never meant anything. But on one particular day, it just stuck. And I remember like worrying, kind of like you're describing to me, worrying about this one person who wasn't happy with something I delivered. I don't even remember at this point what it was. And then I hear Les Brown's voice, like, what other people think of you, Eric, is none of your business. I'm like, yeah, they got the right not to like me. Not everybody's going to like me. I'm okay with that. How silly is it of me to think that everybody should like me?
It is a bit of an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, and if they like me, they don't like me, that doesn't change. That doesn't change, one, my opinion of them. I still love them, regardless of how they feel about me. And two, it doesn't matter.
So the experience that I'm having now is much deeper than what I have done in these like workshops that are groups. Do you think that that has something to do with it? That the one-on-one digging in very personally, that helps more than an hour-long group with 25 people?
Yeah, 100%. First of all, an hour-long group with 25 people, I don't know. That's not enough to get to you personally, right? So it's like they're going to generally say something and hope it resonates with everyone in the room. That works if they hit the target audience correctly. So it's like, if you're dealing with imposter syndrome and if you want to get out of that, come to our 1 hour visualization, meditation, reflection, whatever it is, and let's focus specifically on imposter syndrome. And then they say, okay, write down 10 things that you believe about yourself. Write down something. So even though it's a group setting, everybody's working on themselves individually.
Mm-hmm.
It could work. The question is, does it work for anybody? And if it works for somebody, why doesn't it work for you? And I'm willing to bet, because you went in there thinking this is foo-foo, it's not going to work.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It's not about what we know. It's about how much we apply, or how well we apply what we know. So I was sharing with you this week. I was in New York. I got this really cool contract. Like, I don't know how I got it, but it's with a global company. Everybody knows them. They're in the news right now. And they contracted me for 11 full days from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. sales facilitation. They have a sales team of 600 people, and we're running 25 through every day. Same training, thank God, but it's like a lot, right? So from 9 to 5 to have salespeople leave the field to do this and not be in front of their clients. One, they're already coming in pissed off. Two, they are by 4 o'clock they're just drained. Like, that's a long time to be in a room. So the way I start off is exactly that, and I say, look, chances are anything I'm going to teach you today you've already heard or know. There's nothing brand new about sales, one of the oldest professions ever, that I'm going to teach you. But what I ask you to do is, instead of just assuming that you already know, is ask yourself, how well do I do this? And number two, I'm going to ask you to set an intention for today to just look for one thing that you can take away that you're going to implement right away that's going to help you grow your business. That's my only ask of you. Fair? Fair. Boom. At the end of the workshop, at 4:40, I asked them on a sticky note to write down the one thing that they're taking. Everybody write something down, whether it's the questioning methodology, whether it's whatever, because we've set that intention, right? So maybe you need to go in with a different intention. And
that is why I asked you here to help me to do that, which I think it might be working.
Yeah, I'm sorry if my style is kind of pretty direct to the point. I don't like to beat around the bush. And
well, that's why I asked you, and not one of the people that has run all of these workshops and hypnotherapy and stuff, because I wanted to know that I could be direct and harsh and say, maybe I think this is bullshit, and that you would not be upset. You would think about it and give an answer. So I really needed to interview somebody who was willing to let me go hard, and in return, I let you go hard with me, and you could go harder. I'm fine. I might cry, but that's okay. That happens.
I'm used to it. And that just means that you're letting stuff out, right? Deep work takes time, Carolyn.
It does.
I want you to understand, all right, that you got to celebrate your wins. Like you're your own harshest critic, but you're not being fair to you, Carolyn. If you can beat yourself up about how you're not worthy and how you can't have the money and how you've only made 45,000, like if that exists, then to be fair, you have to also say, I'm a badass who started a podcast. I've created 9 successful funnels and helped people. I've sold over $49,000 of my books. Like you got to create this list of things that you're proud of and review it, because if you continue to beat yourself and beat yourself and beat yourself up without the other side, what do you think is going to be the result? So if you take anything away, like start writing a list of everything you're proud of. And I mean everything. Like I learned how to ride a bike when I was 3. Like give yourself proof, give yourself evidence of why you're badass and how all the stuff you've accomplished. How many books did you write?
I've lost count.
Yeah. Why are they not behind you? I wrote 1. Why are you not showcasing them? You know what I did with my book? I took it to the airport. I put it on the shelf at the airport and I took a screenshot, or I took a picture and I posted it. And people are like, oh my God, your book is in the airport. I had to then go back and tell them like, no. I just literally took a picture of my book and put it there. I wanted to see that, but that's pretty cool, right? I want to thank you, Carolyn. I know we're taking up a lot of time, but these conversations, I really enjoy them. Hopefully I was able to make some kind of a shift in your mind and point your, just shift where you're looking.
I think probably the biggest takeaway is that if there's already one belief there, there isn't room for a competing belief to also be there. Following those streams of logic and pointing out where our minds have made serious flaws in where our logic is going.
Have you read Think and Grow Rich?
No.
Okay. You should definitely read Think and Grow Rich. And by the way, in my Relentless Goal Achievers community, we did a study on Think and Grow Rich through the lens of entrepreneurship. So anybody who joins will have access to all those recordings. And it's really taking that book and saying, how can we take this lesson and what does it mean to me as an entrepreneur? And that is the best book, by the way, to study, not just read once, but study and understand. I've read that book probably 14 times. And every time I pick up something new, like when he's talking about imagination, what is he actually talking about? What is this faculty? How can I use my imagination to get to where I want to go? Faculties of the mind, as he calls them. And we all have them, we just don't use them properly. Maybe for another call, I'll explain it to you.
I know. I'm going to get all the free coaching I can. I'm telling you, the best part about having a podcast. There's 2 great things. 1, you get free coaching. And 2, you can get in front of anybody in the world. Like you said at the beginning, I have always found that no matter who I reach out to and say, would you like a free stage? They do not care how small a stage it is. They come.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on that thought process once again, okay? I'm the worst guy for you.
This is what I asked for. This is what I wanted.
Like, do you want people to pay you money or do you want it for free? Do you want to deliver your services for free?
How honest do you want me to be?
Honest, of course.
I wish that I could just do it for free.
You wish you could do it for free? Why?
What I love about it, what I get out of it, is the joy of helping people. The money, like we said earlier, feels like the root of all evil. It feels like dirty. Like I don't want to have to deal with that side of it. And yet my family needs me to be doing things that are bringing in money. But if I had it my way, I would just be helping for free.
Do you see that? I would be doing it for free, but I want to make $10,000 a month.
It's really not for me. It's not my inner motivation. It's for the people around me that I know I have to, but I don't really want to. I also think that money is a measure of how we judge ourselves successful. So if I'm not making like a living income, then it isn't success and I'm still failing.
You know what I would do if I were you? Well, first, I would probably change my mindset around this, right? That's number one. Like, around money in itself, and why do you believe? Like, being rich is awesome. Having money is awesome because of the people you could help. In order for you to make an impact, you got to have money. It takes donations, giving your son ability for education, traveling, seeing the world, like helping people. You need money, but you have this. You got to reprogram yourself. You got to start seeing money as a good thing. Like, there's so much you could be doing. The fact that you're putting yourself out with a podcast shows me that you, somewhere along the way, you've already shifted your mindset about how you view yourself, Carolyn.
Yeah, not enough, but a little bit.
See, and there it is right there. Not enough. I haven't done enough. Right away, you're going to beating yourself up. Instead, you could have been like, yeah, Eric, I was in the thought of being on video on YouTube was like the biggest fear of my life. This is huge. Thank you for noticing. I am badass. I did do that. Right? Like, that's mindset. And do you see how you would show up differently if you thought that way versus, yeah, but not enough. I still don't have what I want. I'm not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Money is energy. Money is just an idea. It's nothing more. And for you to make money, you got to be willing to pay others. So like when I pay a team in the UK to edit my videos, I like, guys, I'm so excited to send you this invoice. When somebody does a good job for me, hey, I'm so happy I get to pay you for this. When somebody says, I'm going to send you my book for free, I say, nope, let me buy it. Send me the link. Why? Because I want that for me. I don't want people saying, oh, send me a book for free. No, it took me 3 years to write this book. You can spend $15 on Amazon. I'm not sending you my book for free. I'll give it to a potential client for free. That's why I wrote it. But it just, this expectation of free, I should get it for free. It's a terrible way to live, because when it comes to you charging for your services, because you don't appreciate paying for things, it'll be very hard for you to ask people to pay you. The first, I've had life coaches for a long time, and I used to charge not a lot of money for life coaching. The first time I paid $18,000 for 6 months of life coaching. And this is once a month for 30 minutes for 6 months. Wow. It's a lot. Probably 3 weeks into that relationship, I get invited to be in a mastermind group, to come in and be as a speaker in a mastermind group to talk about my morning routine. One of the people in that mastermind group reaches out to me afterwards and said, Eric, everything you said really resonated with me. I'd like for you to coach me one-on-one. What do you charge? Without any hesitation, I said $18,000 for 6 months. He paused. He's like, if you say you're worth it, you're worth it.
Wow.
And he sent me a check for $18,000. It blew my mind. I never ever asked that much. The only way I asked for it is because I actually paid it. It wouldn't be very authentic if I didn't pay it and I'm asking for that service, right? So that liberated me. I went on, the next coach I hired, I paid him $30,000 for 6 months. That was the one that opened my eyes to, who are you being, Eric?
I feel like I'm having a heart attack right now. So much money.
It's just money. It's just money. And I literally just had somebody pay me $30,000 for a year of coaching. That was for a year, not actually 10 months. So when you're willing to pay, like when you say things like, oh, I'm happy to get free coaching. I'm happy to get free coaching. Be happy to get paid coaching because you're worth it. Like when you pay for it, it's like, I'm showing I'm worthy of this. I'm responsible. There's so much when you can just show up and pay. Like, see, that's a mindset tweak. But it's counterintuitive to what society believes.
It is. And I've heard kind of similar ideas, but it's, again, felt like this is like up in the clouds. This is not grounded in reality, like, oh, I paid this amount, and then magically these opportunities showed up, and it feels like, well, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. I can't just put out that kind of money. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up with it.
There's no guarantee you're going to wake up tomorrow.
Very true.
So stop looking for guarantees.
I'm very impressed. And before we end, I do want to ask if there's a way, if people are listening to this and saying, oh my goodness, this is amazing, and I want to work with Eric or learn more about this method, like where should people go to take a next step?
There's a couple of things that you can do. I'll send you the links, but one, if you're an entrepreneur and you're reaching out to people on LinkedIn, I have this free download is the LinkedIn Prospecting Playbook that's going to give you scripts and things, and that'll get you in my email and in my world. So that's one. Then I created another online mini course for how to get the meeting with your ideal clients. It's 10 lessons coming from like the Xerox world, from coaching world. How do we sell our services, sell ourselves? And these are just practical step-by-step ways on how do you make a cold call, how do you send the email, what to say on LinkedIn, all those. That's another thing. And then I have my group, Relentless Goal Achievers, where we meet multiple times a week. It's $97 a month membership, quit whenever you want. But the goal for that is to get this type of coaching. You're going to be in group setting, but there's a teaching call, and then there are coaching calls, usually focused on selling, but it's really to help you grow your business as an entrepreneur. So I'll send you those 3 links, and anybody want to connect, those are great places to start.
Awesome. Okay. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you spending so much time on your Friday to come and tell me that I'm being silly. And
I never said anything like that. Put that in your lap, Carolyn.
This is my dog Paddles.
Hey, Paddles.
Yeah, that's your name.
Sweetheart.